Toyota's safety sense comes standard on virtually all our vehicles because we never lose sight of the most important thing, you. We make our vehicles with safety top of mind, and we can't wait to see what you'll do with them. Alone, just a car. Together, so much more.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
Playing more than one sport
made me a better striker,
a better pitcher,
a better defender.
better passer.
Playing different sports
improves teamwork,
creativity,
Confidence.
confidence.
and motivation.
So change it up.
Playing
More sports,
Will only make you better.
better.
better
Better.
in your own sport.
Good evening and welcome to TD Place in the nation's capital. We are moments away from kickoff with the Ottawa Fury looking to take care of business tonight against AS Blainville. Definitely a lot at stake here as the winner will face Toronto FC in the semifinals.
Off the post, cutting back, Johnson! The Vancouver Whitecaps, Montreal Whitecaps, Toronto FC, right into the death. Blainville is on the road here. What's it on for Ottawa Fury? And no response. Rangers Cup, once again, a thrilling day.
This is a tournament that gives you the chance to play in the Champions League, and You know, I think that's everyone's dream.
What interested me in Blainville in the last match was how aggressive they played, how physical they played against Ottawa Fury, and that took them off guard. It seemed that Ottawa Fury weren't ready for the amount of physical threat that Blainville was going to be throughout the whole match.
On sait qu'on a perdu le premier match quand même 1-0 là. On a quand même une bonne marge de travail à faire quand même pour au moins remporter ce deuxième match. On vient pas ici pour être spectateur, pour faire 1-1 ou juste rester sur le terrain. On vient vraiment ici pour gagner le match et peut-être se qualifier pour le prochain tour.
You've seen it, you know, around the world. You know, upsets from the underdogs in these tournaments, and these are the type of tournaments you don't take lightly. Every team is here to compete. We were once upon a time the underdogs playing against the TFC's Vancouver Whitecaps, and you know, we actually proved them wrong at our home ground.
I really don't approach any team as if they're lower than another team. You know, it's a game at the end of the day, and anyone can win.
Il va falloir qu'on soit très combatif. Il va falloir qu'on réussisse à rentrer dans le match sans être intimidé par l'environnement, ce stade qui est aussi grand et dans lequel on n'a pas l'habitude d'évoluer. Déjà, dans un premier temps, s'accrocher à ça et par la suite pouvoir espérer et être un petit peu plus offensif que la dernière fois où on l'a été seulement sur 45 minutes et pas sur le match au complet.
I would expect Fury to keep their heads, try to stay calm throughout this game, and look to see out the competition and try to get to the semifinal.
We are moments away here, and the referee blows his whistle, and we are underway. The Fury in possession here.
The project is to bring a lot of Canadian players, trying to become the reference of Canadian football.
If you look at the squad that Nicola and Julian have put together, you know, I think 17 Canadians now.
Having a lot of Canadian content, it allows us to, you know, be happy about something that we believe in.
Oh, that's great skill from Reed. He's away to Taylor. Can he finish? And it's a goal! And Carl Hayworth, the captain, puts Ottawa Fury on the board here.
Everyone as a whole, I think, even people at the top, you know, everyone believes in what we're doing, believes in what we can achieve as well.
This is a dream that I've always had for a Canadian club. It's a dream that many Canadians have had for professional teams in Canada. And this is something that we continue to stand by and we'll, you know, continue to work towards with success to follow.
That's it. The referee blows the whistle. Full time here at TD Place. The Ottawa Fury mission accomplished. 1-0 win over AS Blainville.
In two games, the teams are perhaps there is a little bit of differences, but the difference is not so big.
C'est tout le club qui a grandi au travers de ce championnat canadien.
And the Ottawa Fury will advance to the third round of the Canadian Championship, and they will face Toronto FC.
One of the targets of this season was to reach the semi-final. So mission accomplished, and now let's see. Toronto is coming, and we will be prepared for them.
Toyota's Safety Sense comes standard on virtually all our vehicles because we never lose sight of the most important thing, you. We make our vehicles with safety top of mind, and we can't wait to see what you'll do with them. Alone, just a car. Together, so much more.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
Playing more than one sport.
Made me a better striker.
A better pitcher.
A better defender.
Better passer.
Playing different sports.
Improves teamwork.
Creativity.
Confidence.
Confidence.
And motivation.
So change it up.
Playing
More sports.
Will only make you better.
Better.
better
Better.
in your own sport.
Toyota's safety sense comes standard on virtually all our vehicles because we never lose sight of the most important thing, you. We make our vehicles with safety top of mind, and we can't wait to see what you'll do with them. Alone, just a car. Together, so much more.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
one sport.
Made me a better striker.
A better pitcher.
A better defender.
Better passer.
Playing different sports.
Improves teamwork.
Creativity.
Confidence.
Confidence.
And motivation.
So change it up.
Playing
More sports.
Will only make you better.
Better.
better
Better.
in your own sport.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
Welcome. The 2018 Canadian Championship continues tonight from BC Place in Vancouver with the Impact and Whitecaps continuing the Battle of the North. Corey Basso and former Canadian Dale Mitchell along with you. These two clubs compete in this home-and-home series tonight with the winner advancing to the finals and a chance to play for the Voyageurs Cup. Montreal Impact winning the first leg last week 1-0 in Montreal. And of course the three keys to the match, a couple for the Whitecaps. The Davy Saga score early, and as far as the Impact are concerned, they must score that crucial away goal. Dale, thoughts on these keys to the match? The Davy Saga, obviously the big one. They need to play freely here in Vancouver.
Well, for sure, it's been a huge story in Vancouver this week that Alphonso Davies has signed with Bayern Munich. Fortunately for the Whitecaps, he will remain with the Caps for the rest of the season until January when he joins Bayern as a full-time player. But there's been a lot of attention around that, but the team really have to put that behind them and concentrate on a big test here tonight in the Canadian Championship.
We'll discuss those other two keys once we get into the match. The starting 11s are just around the corner here, as the Whitecaps have fielded a fairly new lineup as far as last week's first leg is concerned. They fielded a much younger, inexperienced lineup, but it looks like Coach Carl Robinson is going for it, and Montreal fielding a very tidy lineup as well, Dale.
Yeah, it looks like Montreal, we'll see how they set up, but it would appear that it's going to be a 3-5-2, and they're going to try and possibly protect the one goal that they have, look to maybe break out with the two strikers if they can encourage the Whitecaps to get men forward, which they need to do. They're playing at home. The form has not been great lately. They've not scored a lot of goals, so they'll be looking to correct that tonight and get themselves, first of all, even in the tie and then go on and win it.
On the substitutes bench for the Whitecaps, it's Brian Rowe in net. They do have Sean Franklin, Efrain Juarez, and Anthony Blundell available at their service. They also have Nico Mesquita, Canadian David Normans, and Brett Levi's as well. As far as Montreal are concerned, Pantemis, Bahia, Kroliki, Chouanier, Orduro, Ignacio Piatti, quite the key on the bench, and as well as Silva. So plenty of options off the bench for both squads as well. Back to the keys to the matchup, Dale. One that I think will be key for the Whitecaps here today. They must score early. They must get the crowd into it, especially after a 1-0 deficit and that potential away goal looming.
Absolutely, that would help if they could score early for the confidence, get the crowd into it. Got to be careful, though, about how many men you send forward, because it would appear that Montreal is going to be ready for that. And if they play with two players right up front, especially if you start to get your fullbacks forward and you leave a 2v2 at the back, you could receive an away goal, which would be hugely valuable to Montreal. So a little bit of a tricky one for Vancouver, although they do want to play on the front foot.
And the impact keys, you just mentioned it there, Dale, the crucial away goal at all costs. Do you think Montreal tries to bunker and maybe get one late if they can fend off the Whitecaps, or is this a matter of maybe getting one early so then they have a couple goals of lead to bunker with?
Well, we'll see how they set up. It's, you know, they always have the option of Piatti coming off the bench, who is one of the better players in MLS if they do need a goal. I think they're going to be nice and tight early on and see what the game gives them.
Montreal not great away from home this year in the domestic league MLS, 2-9-1 on the road. However, they are undefeated in 3 across all competitions and have won 6 of their last 8. As far as the Whitecaps are concerned, 4-2-4 at home, which is not exactly a fortress, and they've lost 3 straight and 5 of 6 in all competitions. So if you're looking at those statistics, Dale, it's very much Montreal coming into this one, isn't it?
It really is. They've turned their season around, had a tough start, but in the last month or so, they've taken advantage of a number of home games, taken care of business, won those games, had a good result in Portland on the weekend, which is a tough place to play. And they're the form team right now between the two sides. But, you know, this is a cup competition, so in some ways you got to put that to one side and just go out and take care of business tonight.
Slow, cagey start from both sides. It'll be an early throw-in for the Canadian right back tonight, Michael Petrasso. Immediately in a battle with Russell Tybert there, and then the big American Breck Shea will just launch it to the far side. Didn't you have a very interesting first time here at BC Place, Dale? Weren't you involved in some sort of Montreal, Vancouver tilt back in the day?
Oh, you're taking me back now, Corey. This rivalry does go back a long time. The first time I was ever involved in it, I was actually a member of the Montreal Manique. We came to play at BC Place. There was no hole at the top of the stadium in the roof. 1983, and we managed to get a win against the Whitecaps. I remember there was 60,000 people at the game.
Wow.
Partly because it was, I think, only the second game played in at BC Place, but it's a memory from years gone by for sure.
Breck Shea looping one into the area. Jordy Reyna thought about a shot, then goes for it, loops it way over the bar there. You didn't score in that match, did you, Dale?
No, I did not score. I remember Dragan Vujovic, a former Montreal Manique player, scored on a penalty kick where he chipped it right down the middle, which you see quite often nowadays. You didn't see it very often back in the 80s. Took a lot of courage to do it in front of 60,000 people.
Yep.
But gave us the victory.
Early into this one. 3rd minute now, and Clement Diop will launch it from his area, the south side here at BC Place. It's still a little bit of sunshine there, peeking through the far corner. Kai Kamara up for a battle now. Jordy Reyna will bring it down. That's a fine through ball for Christian Teixeira. Will he have a shot on net? He's carrying in. Looked to skip past the outside of men. Lost control of the ball. It was Raitala, I should say, who eventually did away with it there. But Christian Teixeira looking good early.
Good attack from the Whitecaps, finding Teixeira in behind that defense. That's one thing that we're going to be looking for the Whitecaps to do here, especially with Davies out of the lineup, who is one player that can really stretch a defense. Teixeira, Shea, players like that need to get beyond Kai Kamara and really put the Montreal defense under some pressure.
Right up in the air, Matteo Mancosu, the man with plenty of Italian Serie A experience with the likes of Bologna and Carpi. Breck Shea now, though, on the ball. Loops one in for Jordi Reyna, though. Clement Diop just out to claim right on the edge of his area with the Peruvian breathing down his neck. It's been a decent start for the Whitecaps so far as they're at least attempting to launch some balls into the area to cause some problems for the Montreal Impact defense.
Yeah, and just scanning the pitch, Corey, you can see that the Impact, in fact, have not started in a 3-5-2. They've started in a 4-3-3, which is very similar to what they did in the first game. And I guess they're confident that they can go toe-to-toe with the Whitecaps, who will also be 4-3-3 tonight, and look for goals for themselves.
Ali Ghazal in the middle of the field with Canadian Russell Tybert. Of course, you must field at least 3 Canadian players in this championship per side. Kendall Waston, the Costa Rican, will try and work this one out of the back for the Whitecaps. Now into the 5th minute here at BC Place. Launched forward by another Canadian, Daniil Henry, looking for the run of Marcel de Jong, but didn't just get there. Matteo Kosu has the overlapping run of Shamit Shom, but it's cut out by Russell Tybert. Tybert now again on the ball. Ali Ghazal in his familiar holding midfield spot. Jordi Reyna will most likely be the one pulling the strings there. But now it's worked forward for Tyder. Tyder holds up. He has the overlapping run of Daniel Lovitz, and he will use it. Lovitz sprays it infield now for Shamit Shom again, and now out wide. Montreal thought about service there, but Marcel de Jong just cuts it out. Now a potential break might be on with Kai Kamara ushering on Breck Shea, who's going on a straight beeline for the net. He thinks about some left-footed service, does so. Victor Cabrera with a clean header away, though. Montreal will just play their way out of that one. Now in the 6th minute, Tyder back on the ball, the Algerian. Go near side for Daniel Lovitz, who's advanced way up the pitch. A little bit of a hack there from behind by Jake Nerwinski, and that'll be the first foul of this one, Dale.
It's setting up to be quite an open match, actually, Corey. I'm pleased with Montreal's approach. It looks like they're willing to go toe-to-toe with Vancouver, although the Whitecaps have had a little bit more maybe of the ball. But certainly the way that they're looking to play is they want to get men forward. They've got good attacking players. Lovitz on the left as a fullback, and Petrasso, who's a former midfield player, playing at right back, are looking to get forward as well. So could be a nice open affair that we have here tonight.
Of course, the winner of this tie will go on to meet Toronto as they thumped Ottawa today in the second leg 3-0 for a 4-0 aggregate win. They'll be off to the Canadian Championship Finals and will look to repeat. Of course, they won last year's championship. They've won 6-2 as well in total. The Whitecaps looking to break now. Breck Shea for Russell Tybert. Carrying into the area, left-footed ball across for Kai Kamara. Almost misses the tap in there. He almost got the right toe to it. It was great service from Tybert, and just what you want to see from the Whitecaps early in this one. A great chance in the 7th minute.
Well, for the second time, Breck Shea's taken advantage of that space that Petrasso's left behind him and gotten himself forward. Tybert does a good job of overlapping him and getting across into the box, and that's what the Whitecaps need to do with somebody like Kai Kamara up front. He thrives on crosses, and if they can continue to get balls into the box, he's going to be a problem for Montreal.
Of course, we'll remind you on the scenarios on how both teams can progress. Vancouver need at least a 2-goal difference win here tonight. They need to win at least 2-0, 3-1, 4-2 on aggregate. Montreal can advance with any win or draw or a 1-goal loss with at least 1 Montreal goal. So you feel that away goal so important in this league, especially with the Whitecaps not having scored one in Montreal. So if Montreal do score that goal, that effectively means no extra time, and Montreal probably in pole position to go through on the tie. So the Whitecaps have to button it up at the back and hopefully try and snatch a goal, and maybe even 2. Absolutely, they need to score 2 definitely to get through the tie. That's an absolute must. But Montreal making it hard for them. They'll go up that side now. It's Shamit Shom trying to get around the back, make that Jason Vargas. He's put out for another throw, and you're right, Dale. Both teams not willing to just sit back and let this be a cagey affair. They're very much going for it, and the Whitecaps probably getting the better of the chances so far.
Yeah, they've been more willing to get people forward, and so far they've been the team that's been on the front foot, but you would expect that with both their situation with the league and also their situation with the tie. They've got to come out and really give a big performance so far tonight, and so far they've done well and been the team looking to make things happen.
Obviously, one glaring omission from the Whitecaps, and it's no secret. Alphonso Davies completing his transfer to Bayern Munich today. I'm sure the Caps would love him in the lineup. We'll see if he can make it back from Philly in time from his physical to possibly be in their next MLS match on Saturday, but he is a glaring omission in this one. You feel the Caps would definitely love another Canadian. That's an excellent ball by Brek Shea, mind you, on the other side with Christian Teixeira now trying to pierce the Montreal backline. Teixeira, left-footed shot right at Clement Diop, but the right idea from the Whitecaps again in the 9th minute.
Yeah, once again, as soon as Montreal gets some players forward, the Whitecaps are looking dangerous when they break out. Perhaps look for a little bit more from Teixeira maybe there. He's always going to be somebody that wants to come in to that left foot, but he had a good situation to go 1v1 there and maybe take him to the outside also.
Montreal carrying forward now. That's Shamit Sham dragged back by Brek Shea in a dangerous position too. If Montreal can line this one up about 30 yards just outside the penalty arc, we'll see what they can do here now in the 10th minute. Looks like it'll be Tider standing over it. He also has Jukka Raitala, the Finnish defender, in the area as well. He's now marshalling himself back into the area. It will be Tider with service, it seems.
Tider, who's done very well for Montreal lately, and looking at some of the games, starting to score goals from midfield. Looks like he's been a good pickup. Him and Piatti have been their two most dangerous players in recent games.
Flicked high up into the air by Victor Cabrera. Kai Kamara all the way back by the goal line to win it down for himself, and he'll try and work the Whitecaps back up the field. De Jong now forced to just put the laces to it right up the left side touchline. Brek Shea now for Kamara. Of course, you have some experience with Marcel de Jongdale as a former coach of the U20s.
That's right. As we look at Teixeira here, getting to the end line.
Just getting into the area, plays it off the backside of Jukka Raitala, and it'll be the first corner of the match for the Whitecaps.
First came along Marcel de Jong, who was playing U17 for Canada. It's got to be over 15 years ago, and went on to play U20 for us. Did play for Canada in World Championships for us in Holland, his native country. And I also remember, Corey, him scoring a goal against Italy of all teams.
Oh, love it.
Sorry to remind you.
No, love it. Neither team qualified for the World Cup, the Dutch or Italy this year, so that's a pill I think I can swallow at this point. And congratulations to France on their World Cup win in 2018 this year. Probably one of my favorite tournaments since my birth and since I've been watching soccer.
I wasn't going to mention the Azuri not qualifying. We've had enough.
You're a gentleman. You're a gentleman. Christian Teixeira whips it in high at the back stick. This one's going to go out, it seems. Kendall Waston tried to salvage it, but could only pop it into the south side. We're still scoreless in the 12th minute approaching. Of course, the Canadian Championship brought to you by Allstate and its 800 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Also a big sponsor to our keys of the match as well. And of course, Toyota, the sponsor for our starting 11. Toyota's partnership with Canada Soccer represents their commitment to mobility and movement for all through vehicles, sports experiences, and more. So some fine sponsors between our keys and starting 11 sponsors as well. Jordi Reyna now just holding onto the ball a little bit there. Montreal will get it going again through Victor Cabrera. And now Rod Fanny. Cabrera slowly just jogging forward here. Reyna and Teixeira forced to come in and kind of close him down. And he'll try up the side here as Ali Ghazal is hounded by Tider. Tider eventually having to spread it all the way back for Clement Diop. Kendall Waston now will head it to the chest of Kai Kamara, who looked for a clever flick there for Brek Shea, but it just didn't come off. Kai Kamara does get it back though. Kamara now. Ghazal, and now all the way across for the American Jake Nerwinski. Kendall Waston with a long raking ball looking for Brek Shea. They're using him a lot, that tall American on the left side early in this one. Most of those attacks have come up that channel outside of that one Teixeira looped ball over the top. But both sides have kind of settled into this one now after about 10 minutes of kind of jousting for position back and forth. Some moves for Daniil Henry. Now Jordi Reyna, and a fine switch across for Jake Nerwinski if he can get there, but Daniel Lovitz with a crucial interception. Lovitz now sees the lane, looks like he's going to go for a run, but he'll play it infield for Tider. A clever little ball there, and the Algerian, I should say, will roll it all the way across. Shamit, Shom for Vargas. They'll play 1-2s, and now it's Shom in the corner. Played all the way back for Michael Petrasso. Now Samuel Piet, who also had an excellent game in that first leg for Montreal. Shom on the ball again. Rod Fanny's going for a bit of a run here, and he'll lay it off. Michael Petrasso trying to get some teammates some service to the byline, but eventually just forced to work it all the way back.
Was a promising attack that the Impact had the opportunity for there. Shom on the ball. Maybe could have taken it a little bit further and tried to commit somebody. It's a young player out of FC Edmonton, I believe, and I don't think he's had a lot of minutes so far. But I heard good things about Shom from people that I know in Edmonton. Colin Miller, who had him as a player there before he moved on to MLS, was quite high on Shom. So I'm interested to see what kind of game he has tonight.
Clement Diop once again putting the laces to it. Marcel de Jong will win that header against Jason Vargas, and it'll be a Montreal throw-in now in the 15th minute.
Of course, alongside Shom in the midfield is Samuel Piet, who you mentioned, another former Canadian youth international, has had really been able to establish himself in this Impact team in a key role. The number 6, which is his actual number, but in soccer terms, a 6 is someone that plays right in front of the back four. It's a really key position. You've got to be the person that links the backs to the other midfield players and the forwards, be able to pass the ball forward like he did right there, and also be good defensively positionally. He's a very good young player, and one that I'm sure will be part of John Herdman's plans in the future.
Vargas across for Tider, and it looked like it might have gone in. It came off the outside of the foot of Mancosu. It looks like Marinovic might have got a piece of it as well. It definitely came off a Montreal player in the end, but a fine spell of play there from Tider. But somehow it stays out of the back of the net. Still 0-0 now. We're going to see a replay now.
Well, it was started by Payet, who got it to Tider. Very good cross, comes into the box. Tider's there, and I am not sure what Mancuso is thinking. Lets the ball go between his legs when he looked like he could have tapped it into the net for the opener.
Yeah, tough angle for us. It looked like the rebound off of Marinovic was going into an empty net, and Mancosu, you're right, could have had the tap into the back stick, but for some reason let it roll out when he should have just smashed it in. Perhaps he thought he was offside, or perhaps he thought it was just going in the net, but you're right, Dale. Inexplicable for Mancosu. We should probably be up 1-0 for Montreal, but some fine play from Tider and Jason Vargas up that far right side, the Chilean.
Absolutely.
Tybert now. A little bit of a scare there for the Caps early. That should bring them back into this one if they weren't already up for it. Now in the 17th minute, still 0-0 at BC Place.
Be interesting to hear Mancuso's thoughts after the game, what he was thinking on that one, whether he did think he was offside or he just wanted to be unselfish and let Tider get the goal and let it roll into the net. But if you're a striker in that position, you stick the ball in the net and ask questions later.
Absolutely. We'll see if that comes back to bite Montreal, because that could have been that crucial away goal, which means the Whitecaps would have had to score 3 with any chance of progressing, and it would have eliminated extra time here today. We're getting another replay at it again. Marinovic makes a save. It goes through his legs, and Mancosu goes for it and literally lets it go, Dale. I don't know how to explain that.
Nor do I. You stumped me.
I don't think I've ever even seen that.
Well, you haven't, but the other Italian
yes.
that's on the field has.
Oh, the man with plenty of Bologna and Carpi and previous Montreal Impact experience, it has to be said. Of all people, you would expect him to bury it, but he just lets it roll by, and we're still here at 0-0 in the first half. The Whitecaps need at least 2 goals to progress here, possibly more if that away goal does come into play. Christian Teixeira now picking off his man, Tider. Across for Jordi Reyna now, and here goes Reyna. Kind of a trip from behind. No call from the referee. Reyna a little bit of a roulette there, much to the crowd's approval. Kai Kamara forced to chase it back, though. He needs to find himself in the area, giving Reyna a little bit of shtick now. He wanted that first time.
Good opportunity for the Caps, and maybe they could have played it a little bit quicker with Reyna there, although the Impact did get back quickly.
Tybert across for Nerwinski, who heads it down very nicely for Teixeira. He has the overlapping run of Nerwinski, who's kept going. Maybe a clunk of heads has taken the Montreal defender out of it, and it falls down for Jordi Reyna! who scores. It's an excellent service from Nerwinski, and Reyna smashes it in first time on the right foot. The Whitecaps have equaled the aggregate. It's now 1-1 on aggregate and 1-0 here at BC Place.
Great work down the right side by Jake Nerwinski, first of all, to win the header. Continue his run down the right-hand side as we look for the replay. Get his foot around it, whip it into that most dangerous area. Kamara makes the run to the near post, but between the 6 and the 12 is a very dangerous area. And Reyna gets himself in there like he should do, playing in the number 10 role, and side foots it into the back of the net. The tie is even.
Complaints from the Montreal Impact. It was Daniel Lovitz who had clunked heads with Jake Nerwinski when they both went up for that header. He stayed down. Nerwinski kept going, serves across the crucial ball. Kai Kamara with a half swing / dummy at it, and Jordi Reyna behind him to pick up the pieces. And the Whitecaps, after a bit of a scare at one end from Moncosu, come back and make it 1-0 on the evening and 1-1 on aggregate. And we definitely have a match and a tie to play here, Dale.
That's game on now for sure, and both teams have showed that they can be dangerous in the wide area. They're both set up 4-3-3, looking to use the width, and there is one goal in the tie so far, and there could be more for sure.
Rod Fanny, the man from France, will push forward now. And now it's a roll ball for Tyder. Excellent service, though. Tyder looking to release a shot. He had the run of Moncosu, but just couldn't get it to him in time. Moncosu tried to keep himself on side, but Tyder wanted that one all for himself.
Good work from Daniil Henry, who had to go to ground there, but he did make the tackle.
Daniil Henry, not a stranger to a nice beefy challenge like that. Here comes Nerwinski and Lovitz. You feel this might be a crucial battle moving forward now. Nerwinski getting the better of Lovitz on that last scoring play. Nerwinski now putting on his dancing boots, but he's got Samuel Piette to beat, and Piette takes a little bit of a slew foot following that one. He's slow to get up, but Montreal will try and spring the counterattack now.
Great work from Piette there, doing the defensive side of the job that he needs to do as a number 6.
And that'll be the first yellow card of the match. Kendall Wasson going through the back of Tyder behind the play there. Tyder had already released the counterattack, and Kendall Wasson kind of hung the leg on him. Tyder's down with his head in his hands, and the Costa Rican's incredulous, but he'll be the first yellow card of this one in the 21st minute. And now there's a center back under the cosh. As mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Toronto going through on aggregate 4-0 over Ottawa, 1-0 in the first leg, and then a 3-0 demolishing earlier today. We'll see TFC get another chance to repeat as Canadian champions. It'll be one of these two squads that will take them on, Montreal or Vancouver, and that next match is, I should say, the first leg of the Canadian Championship final is Wednesday, August 8th.
Be interesting to see, Corey, what shape this competition takes next year when the new teams from the Canadian Premier League are in operation. I'm sure they'll be a part of this competition, and it's certainly going to add something to what is already proven to be a very good competition.
I completely agree, and I don't feel like it's going to be like one of those World Cup scenarios where if you had too many teams, you take the risk of possibly watering it down. I think there's enough teams of quality, and then of course you get underdog stories, and I think that's what's beautiful about the Cup play is that in knockout ties, pretty much anything can happen.
Absolutely, in every country it's the same. We often see it that lower league teams are able to bounce teams from higher levels out of the competition, and I'm sure the CPL teams next year will be highly motivated when they come up against an MLS opponent to see if they can defeat one of the big boys.
Stoppage in play there. Coach Carl Robinson up off his bench to have a word with the fourth official, Mark Gantar. I should say David Gantar. First time I've seen Robbo rock a t-shirt on the bench. It is quite hot in BC Place, a little bit stuffy as well. Even the broadcast crew opted for the polos and shorts today.
That was a great text to get from you, Corey, to say that the suit wasn't an option tonight.
No, certainly not. We got to keep the broadcast crew free, breathing, airy, mobile, just like down on the pitch. Kendall Wasson thumping it high into the air now. He'll ask questions of the Montreal defense. And now Ali Ghazal. Jordi Reyna had the overlapping run of Marcel on the far side. He will use it, and that's a nice touchdown for Marcel Diong. He plays it across, possibly looking for the head of Christian Teixeira, who was dragged back. The Whitecaps bench didn't like it, but not too many protests at field level.
Marcel trying to get a cross in there that he obviously overhit, but Breck Shea made a good run on the inside and underlap to see if he could get in behind the defense again, and possibly a ball squared into him into the box could have caused the Impact some problems.
Throw in on the near side now. Jukka Raitala. Now across for Daniil Henry and Marcel de Jong. Couple Canadians linking up, and of course their fellow countryman Russ Teibert right beside them.
Got a little Canadian triangle there.
Teibert, of course, playing in that first leg in Montreal. He was one of the 3 Canadians alongside David Nordman Jr., who is on the bench, and of course Brett Levi is the man from Saskatoon, who is also on the bench. Suffered from a little bit of cramp at training yesterday, but from all aspects should be good to go on the bench. He's suffered quite a bit since coming back from that injury. Not really sure if we can see a full 90 from Levi's, but still healthy enough for the bench and healthy enough to be included in the squad. Jordi Reyna now cutting back to the right foot, launches it into the area. Christian Chera is at the back stick. Ooh, is that a pass back? I guess not. A deflection. Looking to pick that one out of the air for Christian Chera, who was lurking at the back stick, and Clement Diop will clutch that one.
Another good cross into the box from the Whitecaps that unsettles the Impact defense a little bit. This time Reyna on the left-hand side, interchange positions with Breck Shea, manages to get across into the back post on his right foot, and Teixeira wasn't that far off.
Ali Ghazal doing some excellent aerial ball winning there, and immediately charges back into right in front of the back four. That's where he's most comfortable. Ghazal, you mentioned that 6th position, Dale. That's probably Ghazal's best suited position. We call him the octopus man. He's all arms and legs. It's very tough to get around him. He can throw a tackle out of anywhere and almost always get the ball.
Yeah, you'd like to see Teibert and Ghazal be the ones that between them get on the ball from the back four, and if they can, get turned and play the ball forward, play the ball past Impact players to eliminate players rather than always looking to go sideways. I mean, sometimes you have to go sideways, sometimes you have to go back. You don't want to lose possession there. But the really good midfield players are the ones that can get turned, play the ball forward, keep possession, and eliminate opponents with their passing, and that's what the Whitecaps will be looking for Teibert and Ghazal to do maybe a little bit more of as the game goes on here. See, in that situation there, can Ghazal get turned and see if he can pass the ball past one of the Impact, or past the Impact's line of midfield players and into the forward to eliminate some of the defenders.
Reyna now dancing on the ball. He had the run of Teixeira, now offside, and he'll plunk it back for Russell Teibert. Now across for Breck Shea. Marcel de Jong showing options, plays a quick 1-2 through Breck Shea, and he's going to serve it into the area. It's a left-footed service, but Clement Diop comes out to snatch it over the shoulder of Rod Fanny. But some promising play, and I hate to say it, but that Matteo Mancosu chance is becoming ever so glaring, as it looks like Montreal have really struggled to get back in the game following that miss.
We'll need an explanation of that one. You might have to get it in Italian for a story after the game from Mancosu.
I might have to take him out for a glass of Chianti to pry that one out of him. I don't think he'd want to admit it. That's a tough one if you're just joining us and haven't seen the Matteo Mancosu miss, whether he was offside or not, and inexplicably had the ball right at his feet with an opening cage following a Stefan Marinovic save, and decided to just let it harmlessly roll out for a goal kick. It was a very funny play. You don't see that a ton, and especially not in the Canadian Championship.
Now it's got to be said, Breck Shea's had a very good start to the game. The first half, he's given Michael Petrasso all he can handle in that right back position for the Impact, and really looking to stretch the defenders.
Christian Teixeira now loops it at the back stick. Kendall Wasson loops it high into the air right just outside the 6-yard box. It's one back. Jordi Reyna takes a lash at it. And now it falls for Christian Teixeira. Takes it down. Is he dragged down? The referee says yes. We will have a free kick just outside of the area. It's a dangerous position in the 28th minute.
Definite foul, and likely to be Reyna or Teixeira that gets on this. Teixeira possibly with his left foot. We've seen him in the past bend free kicks over the wall and into the back of the net. This is a good opportunity.
Very close to the area. The wall is quite tight. You'll have to get it up and over and try and keep it within the frame, the structure of the goal there. Who will it be? It looks like it's... You got Jordi Reyna, Russell Teibert, Kai Kamara, Christian Teixeira, all within the vicinity. Breck Shea even hanging around too. Everybody wants a piece of this one.
Not unusual when there's a free kick in that position that a few players would like to have a go.
Looks like it's probably going to be Christian Teixeira. Maybe a quick roll-off layoff for Kamara, who's actually taking his paces. And here comes Teixeira. It's off the crossbar. Kai Kamara used a little bit of a decoy step back there, and Teixeira just ran at it, blasted it. It hits the junction of the frame of the goal. Or as we might be up 2-0 for the Whitecaps.
Well, we've seen Teixeira do this before. For those of us that come to Whitecaps games, he's got the ability to get that ball over top of the wall, down under the crossbar, into the back of the net, and he wasn't far off on that opportunity right there.
Clement Diop rooted to his goal line there. Not much as he could do, but watch the ball smash against the upright. Some fine work there from Christian Teixeira to not only win the free kick, but also almost execute and give the Whitecaps a 2-0 lead. Would have put them up in the tie as well. But Montreal looking kind of shell-shocked following that goal. They really haven't put together a spell of play or passes here since the opener from Jordi Reyna. This, of course, match comes at a funny time for both clubs. One club seemingly flourishing while others kind of in a downward spiral. The Whitecaps looking to get themselves back on track, where Montreal have finally found their form after a tough start to the season. Ali Ghazal throwing in a meaty challenge there. Just misses out against Mateo Mancosu. Tighter. Now there's a little bit of space to run into for Michael Petrasso, the Canadian. Jockeyed by Russell Tybert and forced all the way back to Rod Fanny. Shamit Shom thought about service, had Petrasso on the overlap, instead elects to go back. Piet now will carry forward, and it's Taider. Taider takes a heavy touch, but in the area. Taider lays off now. And it's all the way across. Kendall Wasson throws the judo kick at it and will put it high into the air. Lovitz will get it right back. Raitala, left-footed service into the area, headed clear by Daniil Henry. And now Kai Kamara wins a crucial flick down. Jordi Reyna off to the races, but he has about 5 white shirts to get past. We'll see what the Peruvian has in store. It's an overlapping run from Breck Shea, and it's worked to a tee. He has a left-footed shot. Oh, it looked like it went in the net, but it hits the side netting. The south side was in rapture for a split second there, but the American only able to blast his effort off the outside of Clement Diop's net after a fine spell of play.
Nice spell of play, Corey, as you mentioned. Just first of all, with a chance, or at least a good attack from the Impact, and then a counter attack from the Whitecaps. And Breck Shea once again looks dangerous when he breaks out, looking to get past the man on the ball. It's on his favorite left foot, but unfortunately he's hit it into the side netting.
It was an excellent ball from Jordi Reyna. It looked like he had painted himself into kind of a corner there, but he used the overlapping run of Breck Shea. Got it to him. Breck Shea probably might have cut it back for Kai Kamara on a second look, but he saw his name in the stars on the marquee and decided to go for a blast, and can't say I blame him. He was at a decent area, and you want to see your strikers and your forwards, when they get those half chances, to have a blast. He had a blast. It hits the outside of the net. Still 1-0 now in the 32nd.
Well, if players are continuing to make those runs beyond somebody to get into the box, then you want to reward them with a pass, and you hope that they make the right decision. I think he did make the right decision there to have a go. It just was not quite accurate enough with his finish.
Rod Fanny all the way back for Michael Petrasso. Montreal looking to work their way back into this one. Just before that chance, I was talking about the records of both clubs. The Whitecaps are 3 straight losses, lost 5 of 6 in all competitions, including that first leg tie in Montreal, whereas the Montreal Impact and MLS play are undefeated across all 3 competitions and won 6 of 8 in all competitions, including this one. So Montreal very much in a good vein of form, while the Whitecaps are just looking to get back on the rails here as they struggle to pick up points in MLS play. I believe they're 9th in the West to Montreal's 5th in the East. But so far on the night, it's been the Whitecaps who have put the best foot forward in the first 33 minutes or so.
Looks as though Jordi Reyna is starting to pay a little bit more attention to Samuel Piet in the build-up, because everything from the backs is going through Piet. Just prior to Shea's chance, another great ball from Piet to find Taider, and that unlocked the defense once again with another chance forward. So Carl Robinson may have given that instruction to Reyna, as it's 3v3 in the central midfield, so it should be Reyna's responsibility to pick him up.
Well, that was a thundering tackle from Daniil Henry, judged to be from behind, and that'll be a yellow card. Marcel de Jong and Daniil Henry both protesting that one. It looked a meaty challenge. We'll have to see a replay on this one. Definitely the yellow card is out. We'll see if he got some of the ball there, but he definitely sent his man Shom flying in the air. As a result, we know Daniil no stranger to a big challenge. And this one right in front of Willie's corner. And dangerous spot for some service there. If you're whipping balls in right-footed, it's a decent area, about 25 yards out from the junction of the area on the far right side.
You'd like to think the Whitecaps, from their point of view, would have the personnel to deal with it in this situation. Waston, Henry, Kamara, Shea, Gazelle, a lot of size there. Of course, it's important also that you stay with your men.
Be whipped in from the far side from Vargas, who was flicked up in the air by Cabrera. It looks like it'll land on the roof of the net, if not just out. It will be a corner kick. Of course, it was Vargas who whipped in that first ball for Tider on that great chance they had where Mancosu let it run. He's had another great ball. It was really whipped in head height with pace, and it caused problems. Cabrera got his head to it, but it takes a deflection off of Whitecaps, and we have another corner here. Vargas will clear that extra ball off the pitch and then lace one in here, 35th minute, and it's been a fast-moving first half here. Whipped into the area. Another good batch of service. Kai Kamara gets the braids to it, but it goes out the far side. Daniel Lovitz now make that Raitala, and he'll go off Breck Shea and then back off Raitala. Finally defended by the American Breck Shea. Still 1-0 for the Whitecaps in the 35th.
Been a good half of soccer so far, Corey. The Whitecaps have looked dangerous, especially with Shea on that left-hand side, looking to stretch them, get in behind them. The Impact, a good possession team, don't appear with this lineup that they have right now to have any pace up front that's really going to trouble the Caps. So it's just a matter from Vancouver's point of view of sticking with players, being aware of Tider, Piet playing the ball out of the back, and seeing if you can find something through those players. But there's nobody really with the pace, and there's certainly nobody with the skill of Ignacio Piatti, who they still have on the bench if he does come in. One of the better players in MLS from an attacking point of view. I think he's got 10 goals already this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him at some point.
Always nice to have that ace up your sleeve, and Piatti generally has very good games here at BC Place. It's funny how that works in soccer, how some guys just do well against certain teams or in certain stadiums. Marcel de Jong now rolled ball on the deck, cleared by Fanny, and now Montreal will try and orchestrate a counterattack. Fortunate bounce for Tider. Tider can switch play if he gets his head up, he does, but the ball's just not good enough. It's behind Lovitz, which kind of slows down the attack. Talked about our keys to the match, Dale. The first two for the Whitecaps. Forget the Davies saga, play freely, score early, get the crowd into it. I say they tick both those boxes. They look to be playing very flowy and freely, attacking-wise anyways, and they've definitely scored early and got the crowd into it.
Absolutely, it's been a spirited performance, and I think the fans will be quite happy with the Whitecaps' first half to this point.
Jake Nerwinski with some service from the right side. It'll be another corner off the head of Lovitz. The one key to the match for the Montreal Impact was score that crucial away goal. They had the chance, but Mateo Mancosu let it roll out for a goal kick. He'll be kicking himself after that one, especially if the Whitecaps can make something of this corner kick now in the 37th minute, approaching halftime up 1-0.
Caps this year to date have not been as dangerous in these situations as they have been during the last couple of years. Waston and especially Tim Parker, when he was here, proved to be a pretty dynamic duo.
Christian Teixeira right to the heart of the area, just inside the 6-yard box. It falls for Jordi Reyna. Christian Teixeira is going to have another go at this one. Left-footed, whipped in. Kai Kamara looked to take a flicky. Definitely put it on. Kendall Wasson thought it was going into the side net. And to be fair, the angle from our vantage point looked like it was headed that way too, but it screws away from net. Another chance goes begging, almost 2-0 again for the Caps.
Initial service from Teixeira from the corner was poor, didn't beat the first man. But his second ball is a good one into Kamara, and I think that Kamara might have done a little bit better. As good as he is at attacking crosses, as good as he is in the air, I would have expected that to be on target.
Absolutely, that's usually breakfast, lunch, and dinner for Kai Kamara, but tried to get a little too cute, a little bit too much of a glancing header instead of just putting some solid purchase on it. Kendall Waston thought it was going in, so he didn't want to put a touch to it, and it screws wide of Clement Diop's net and spares Montreal's defensive blushes. The Whitecaps, though, probably wishing they'd gone into the half 2-0 up. They still have about 8 minutes plus change to play with. Jake Nerwinski, who's having himself a great early game so far, throws himself through a massive tackle through Tider to win the ball for his squad.
Great challenge from Nerwinski.
Kai Kamara now, can he win this one down? Adjudged to have dragged down his man, Victor Cabrera, in the process. Didn't look a lot to me. It looked like a little bit of body contact there. Kamara's not having it. But referee will blow that one down. David Barry, and get us playing again.
One thing I like about Kamara is he's willing to battle up front and not afraid to knock around a center back, which he does there, and at least in the eyes of the referee.
Russell Tybert keeps it in for Brek Shea. Jordy Reyna goes down clutching his ankle, but referee and Montreal say play on. Reyna still down in a heap, though, slowly getting up, but Montreal trying to work a attack down this left-hand side. Kai Kamara bundled over now from behind, this time by Victor Cabrera. Ali Ghazal wants to get it going. Kendall Waston doing a bit of lobbying as well. 2 Whitecaps in the book already. Kendall Waston, Daniil Henry, the 2 center backs, so they're looking for a bit of retribution in the referee's pocketbook.
Of course, if you're a center forward and you want to knock around the center back, there's always the chance that he's going to get you back, because he's got a lot of opportunities when the ball's played into your feet, and it looked like Cabrera took pretty quick advantage of it there.
Yeah, he usually goes tit for tat in those battles. Christian Teixeira looking to win a header down, the diminutive bug as they call him, but it skids over his head. Victor Cabrera just able to force him out of it, and Montreal will try this one again from the back through Rod Fanny. Montreal just not able to get into the offensive third and keep possession. They're just having a tough time springing any sort of attack. Here comes Mancosu over the top. Daniil Henry, very good in the air. He'll win that one down, but the ensuing pieces will look like they might have been picked up by Montreal, but Brek Shea eventually slew-footed from behind. He'll win another foul for his squad now in the 40th. Russell Tybert now, Ali Ghazal. The bug, Christian Teixeira. Of course, the goal scorer, Jordy Reyna, in this first half off some excellent service from Jake Nerwinski. A little bit of controversy on the goal as Daniel Lovitz was down in a heap after colliding with Jake Nerwinski in the build-up to that one, but Nerwinski played on. Referee didn't blow it down, and the Whitecaps are thankful because Jordy Reyna was there to smash home inside the 18-yard box. Tybert now. Rolled ball in the deck for Kai Kamara. He wriggles away from one challenge and then lays off for Kendall Waston. Waston will try it from the left side. They've had some good success with the likes of Brek Shea and overlapping runs from Marcel de Jong as well. Looks like the Whitecaps are just happy to see this one off into the half. The way they're bouncing it around now. There's a ball over top for Kai Kamara. He looked to take it down for himself, but the touch took him backwards. Kai Kamara's had a decent bit of service early in this first half, but just hasn't been able to either corral the balls or direct his headers on target. He probably wants that one back as well.
Good spell of possession for the Whitecaps. Look content to just go from one side of the pitch to the other. But as often happens when you do that a couple of times, there starts to be some gaps in the back of the opposing defense. Teixeira spotted Kamara's diagonal run there and played a nice ball in behind. And there could have been an opportunity there for another one for Vancouver.
Can't imagine a ton of added time on in this first half. I think there was one stoppage. I would expect maybe 1 or 2 minutes total. That being said, my math is horrible when it comes to adding up the added time. I'm usually 1 or 2 or 3 minutes off.
Only the referee knows.
On his day-glow watch, he has it all set up. Daniil Henry now. Marcel de Jong launching a ball in with the left foot there. Kai Kamara just had his run impeded. He had all eyes on the ball, and he kind of got interfered with. Somebody threw a pick at him. He goes down just outside the penalty arc, and this is a dangerous spot, possibly for a Teixeira free kick.
Yeah, Kamara continues to battle away against the 2 center backs there, Fanny and Cabrera. This time gains a free kick situation, a very dangerous position. And Teixeira, or maybe Kamara, is going to feel like, you know, he's the one getting knocked around, so he's going to have a whack at it. But I think if it is Kamara, it's mostly going to be power. If it is Teixeira, then what we've seen from him most likely is a bender that's going to go either over or around the wall. Not sure Kai Kamara has the ability to bend it from here, but he could prove me wrong.
Kai Kamara served as the decoy on that first one, his run up. Kamara will hit it. He slips and falls. He scuffed it almost against the outside of the wall there. They played it really quickly there. It wasn't struck with great venom. Came off the backside of a defender and fell right back to Kamara. Marcel DeYoung puts it into the area now. Glancing header by Breck Shea. It'll go high over the net, but again, some good service from the left side and a good free kick to be won by Christian Teixeira in a dangerous area.
Yeah, good work again from the Whitecaps. Shea comes inside, and as we often see in the modern game, when you see 4-3-3, got a wide player, comes inside, that fullback gets around him. Marcel is a converted midfield player, and you see that happen quite a bit nowadays as well. Players that are usually wide or have been wide midfield players get a chance at fullback because the coaches love those guys that can get forward from that position and cause attacks. You know, there is the defending side that you've got to be able to do, and especially defending at the back post can be difficult for players that have only played midfield. But since Marcel's made that transition to left back, he's done a good job for the Whitecaps.
Of course, there's another Canadian left back on the bench should the Whitecaps need it, and Brett Levis. He did play in that first leg.
Had some injury issues over the last year or so, but he was definitely a prospect that the Whitecaps I know have been high on in the past.
Jake Nerwinski winning another throw, and Jake Nerwinski's been immense in this first half. It has to be said, the young American fullback. It's been a bit of a patchy season for him at MLS level. Kind of been in and out of the lineup after a stretch of games early in that one. Kind of been battling Sean Franklin for the position, the veteran American, but he's looked great tonight. Here comes Jordy Reyna now, almost hacked down from behind. He'll keep going now, eventually slid into. Probably would have taken the free kick with no advantage there, but it's eventually picked off, and now again by Ali Ghazal. Teixeira.
Impact regained possession, had a chance for a counter, but they got no players forward to play it to. Sitting quite deep now as the second half winds to a close.
Find out how much added time we have here, Mr. Mitchell. 1 minute. It will be. Breck Shea now. Left-footed, carrying infield. Now Russell Tybert. Of course, you mentioned, Dale, the lack of kind of mobility and speed up front for the Impact. They do have a speed merchant in Dom Oduro, and of course they also have a skill setup man in Piatti, so that could be a 1-2 punch they possibly look at for the second half.
And they also have Silva, who I believe scored in the first game.
They do have some attacking options, do Montreal. A little bit of a submarine job there. Looks like the Whitecaps are just content to see off the half here in the offensive third. Montreal struggling to get out of their own end, all 11 men behind the ball. And that'll be the halftime whistle. The Whitecaps up 1-0 thanks to a Jordy Reyna goal, but it has to be said, Montreal could have had their away goal through the legs of Mateo Mancosu. But as it stands at the half, 1-0 Whitecaps, 1-1 on aggregate. Dale, quickly, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's been a good half for the Whitecaps. They started well. They look to be the better team. Montreal is looking to break out, although they don't really have a lot of pace. Could have had a goal, but the Whitecaps deserve to be 1-0 in front.
It's 1-0 at halftime. We'll come back with the second half next.
Toyota's Safety Sense comes standard on virtually all our vehicles because we never lose sight of the most important thing, you. We make our vehicles with safety top of mind, and we can't wait to see what you'll do with them. Alone, just a car. Together, so much more.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
Playing more than one sport.
Made me a better striker.
A better pitcher.
A better defender.
Better passer.
Playing different sports.
Improves teamwork.
Creativity.
Confidence.
Confidence.
And motivation.
So change it up.
Playing
More sports.
Will only make you better.
Better.
better
Better.
in your own sport.
Good evening and welcome to TD Place in the nation's capital. We are moments away from kickoff with the Ottawa Fury looking to take care of business tonight against AS Blainville. Definitely a lot at stake here as the winner will face Toronto FC in the semifinals.
Off the post, cutting back, Johnson scores the individual. The Vancouver Whitecaps, Montreal Whitecaps, Toronto FC, win it to the death. Blainville is on the road here. What's it on for Ottawa Fury? It's no response. Blazers Cup, once again, a thrilling day.
This is a tournament that gives you the chance to play in the Champions League, and I think that's everyone's dream.
What interested me in Blainville in the last match was how aggressive they played, how physical they played against Ottawa Fury, and that took them off guard. It seemed that Ottawa Fury weren't ready for the amount of physical threat that Blainville was going to be throughout the whole match.
On sait qu'on a perdu le premier match quand même 1-0. Là. On a quand même une bonne marge de travail à faire quand même pour au moins remporter ce deuxième match. On ne vient pas ici pour être spectateur, pour faire 1-1 ou juste rester sur le terrain. On vient vraiment ici pour gagner le match et peut-être se qualifier pour le prochain tour.
You've seen it, around the world. Upsets from the underdogs in these tournaments, and these are the type of tournaments you don't take lightly. Every team is here to compete. We were once upon a time the underdogs playing against the TFC's Vancouver Whitecaps, and we actually proved them wrong on our home ground.
I really don't approach any team as if they're lower than another team. It's a game at the end of the day, and anyone can win.
Il va falloir qu'on soit très très combatif. Il va falloir qu'on réussisse à rentrer dans le match sans être intimidé par l'environnement, ce stade qui est aussi grand et dans lequel on n'a pas l'habitude d'évoluer. Déjà, dans un premier temps, s'accrocher à ça et par la suite pouvoir espérer et être un petit peu plus offensif que la dernière fois où on l'a été seulement sur 45 minutes et pas sur le match au complet.
I would expect Fury to keep their heads, try to stay calm throughout this game, and look to see out the competition and try to get to the semifinal.
We are moments away here, and the referee blows his whistle, and and we are underway. The Fury in possession here.
The project is to bring a lot of Canadian players, trying to become the reference of Canadian football.
If you look at the squad that Nicola and Julian have put together, I think 17 Canadians now.
Having a lot of Canadian content, it allows us to, be happy about something that we believe in.
Oh, that's great skill from Reed. He's away to Taylor. Can he finish? And it's a goal! And Carl Hayworth, the captain, puts Ottawa Fury on the board here.
Everyone as a whole, I think, even people at the top, everyone believes in what we're doing, believes in what we can achieve as well.
This is a dream that I've always had for a Canadian club. It's a dream that many Canadians have had for professional teams in Canada, and this is something that we continue to stand by, and we'll continue to work towards with success to follow.
That's it. The referee blows the whistle. Full time here at TD Place. The Ottawa Fury, mission accomplished. 1-0 win over AS Blainville.
In two games, the teams are perhaps there is a little bit of differences, but the difference is not so big.
C'est tout le club qui a grandi au travers de ce championnat canadien.
And the Ottawa Fury will advance to the third round of the Canadian Championship, and they will face Toronto FC.
One of the targets of this season was to reach the semi-final. So mission accomplished, and now let's see. Toronto is coming, and we will be prepared for them.
Toyota's Safety Sense comes standard on virtually all our vehicles because we never lose sight of the most important thing, you. We make our vehicles with safety top of mind, and we can't wait to see what you'll do with them. Alone, just a car. Together, so much more.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
You are Canada Soccer.
striker.
A better pitcher.
A better defender.
Better passer.
Playing different sports,
Improves teamwork.
creativity,
Confidence.
Confidence.
and motivation.
So change it up.
Playing
More sports,
Will only make you better.
better
better.
in your own sport.
Corey Basso alongside former Canadian men's international and coach Dale Mitchell. Plenty of chances there in that first half. It's a 1-0 lead, 1-1 on aggregate for the Caps, or I guess tied on aggregate, but plenty of chances there, Dale. None more glaring amiss than that Mateo, I should say, Mancosu chance, which even dipping into the media booth, we had a tough time explaining.
Well, probably their only chance of the first half, I think. They were a little bit flat, I think, the impact based on how they have been playing, but it was a glorious opportunity from Mancosu. For some reason, he let it go. Vancouver have been the better team. They got the goal that they needed, but the Impact still know that if they get the next goal, Vancouver needs 2 to beat them. So that's a great thing to have in your mind, but at the same time, you got to go out and try and win the second half.
Plenty of chances for the Whitecaps, probably the better of the two squads in that first half. But that being said, that Mancosu chance was huge for Montreal. Looked like he might have thought he was offside. The only real explanation for a striker letting that ball roll. Of course, if you're just joining us, as mentioned earlier, Toronto through to the finals, a 4-0 aggregate beatdown of the Ottawa Fury. So the winner of this match will take on Toronto in the finals. Toronto getting there for the second straight year. Of course, they've hoisted the cup 6 times. Montreal getting started fast here. It's Michael Petrasso running at the back line. Petrasso, will he win an early corner kick? It looks like he will, just enough to shield off fellow Canadian Marcel de Jong, and it'll be the first corner kick of the second half now in the 47th.
Good defending by de Jong, but Petrasso does manage to win a corner kick for the Impact. Vancouver will have to be switched on here. Good opportunity for the Impact to maybe get an early one on them.
Safir Taider, the Algerian, he was one of the bright spots for the Impact in that first half. He whips one in near post, takes a flick off Mancosu, and then Marcel de Jong clears the rebound. He's thumped over from behind. But great service from Taider, a flick on from Mancosu, but de Jong does just enough to keep the score line just the way it started.
Yeah, you always wonder if you can catch a team at the beginning of the second half, maybe not being as sharp at set pieces, a little bit still in the dressing room, and the Impact had a good ball whipped into the box and a header on it, and could have been different if somebody else had been on the other side of the net to be able to knot it in.
No switches for either side at the beginning of this second half. Both coaches just willing to let the players see this one out. Of course, you assume substitutions will be made for both sides, especially for Montreal, who will need some goals here, crucial away goals, and they do have the likes of Domaduro, Piatti, and Silva still on the bench. A couple aces up their sleeves should they need it. Breck Shea, who alongside with fellow American Jake Nerwinski have had great games so far in this second leg of the Canadian Championship. 2 Americans performing in our tournament, Dale.
There you go. They've done well, Nerwinski, and I think this is the best I've seen Breck Shea play in quite some time. So hopefully he can keep it going from the Whitecaps' point of view, and Michael Petrasso is going to have to do what he can to nullify it.
As mentioned, the winner of this one does move on to take on Toronto. That final first leg match, Wednesday, August 8th. The Voyageurs Cup. You can visit CanadaSoccer.com for more details on all of that, how you can check out the match as well. As it stands right now, it's a 1-1 aggregate draw. Both teams scoring a home goal. Both, well, the Whitecaps anyways, wishing they had that away goal, where Montreal are still in pursuit of it, and it could very much turn this tie on its head should they get it. Of course, the scenarios for advancing are as follows for the Whitecaps. They need at least a 2-goal difference win, as Breck Shea will look to bring it to a 2-goal difference now, but can only put it into the side net. For the Impact, any win or draw gets them through. A 1-goal loss with at least 1 Montreal goal gets them through as well, and it's extra time if the Whitecaps manage to tie it up, which they have on aggregate. So as it stands, we are headed to extra time, 2 15-minute extra time halves, and then of course shootouts afterwards, and away goals do count in extra time. So if Montreal are able to pip one after 90 minutes, it still does count as an away goal, so the Whitecaps do have to be careful here. Jordi Reyna now, is he onside? He is. No, the flag is up. It looked like the Peruvian had snuck around the back. Victor Cabrera had closed down the angle a bit, but the flag was up in the 50th minute.
A couple of good forward passes from Russell Tybert, one to find Breck Shea behind the defense, behind Petrasso again, and this the last one to Reyna, just offside though.
Jordi Reyna playing some keepy-uppy to himself, plays it off the forehead of Shamit Sham. Russell Tybert eventually gets it back in the midfield. Put up the far right side for Jake Nerwinski. Had to take it down on the collarbone, it seemed, but then skips past 2 Montreal players, eventually dispossessed, but it's worked back. Jake Nerwinski, though, have judged to have fouled his man, kind of a drag back on Piette there after he was stripped of the ball.
5 minutes into the second half, and you just wonder if it's going to be quite as open as we saw in the first half. Of course, Vancouver had to come out and look to get that first goal to even up the tie. Now that they have it, and as time goes on, you wonder, are they going to be as committed to putting men forward? Because they know that if Montreal gets the next goal, they're going to have to score 2 to get by them. So we could be in for a cagier second half than the first half.
Certainly has looked that way in the first 5-6 minutes here, Dale, as outside of that loop ball over the top for Reyna, it's been mostly midfield battles and duels. A couple meaty challenges, though, it has to be said. Kai Kamara, though, looks like he'll get right side of his man, but Victor Cabrera just puts a crucial touch. Christian Teixeira, though, putting in some work as well, but Montreal tidily clean it up to Tider.
Good defending from Cabrera. The Whitecaps had them in a situation that was 2v2 there as Teixeira had come in off the wing, but good defending.
Vargas now. Jason Vargas thought about the switch for Petrasso, but the run goes wanting. Instead, it goes up the far side. It'll be a left-footed chip ball into the back stick. Moncosu, can he keep it in? He does. It falls into the 18-yard box. Daniil Henry will put the big left foot to it, high up in the air to the head of Kai Kamara. Excellent flick down for Reyna, but he just can't find the pieces on the tail end. And now Petrasso's going to go for another run.
Disappointing cross for the Impact from Lovitz there, who's gotten into a good situation.
Petrasso puts it in right to the penalty spot. Not enough mustard on it. Kendall Waston heads it out. And then it's a foul on Vargas on Tybert in the middle of the field. But Petrasso definitely very willing to get up this near right side touchline. He didn't get that overlapping pass from Tider before, so he just blasted past Breck Shea. Didn't take no for an answer the second time around. Did get surface into the area, but just not enough sting on it to really cause the Whitecaps defense any problems. Now in the 52nd minute, 1-0 for the Whitecaps. Jordi Reyna with the goal, 1-1 on aggregate. Corey Basso alongside Dale Mitchell, former Canadian men's international and former Canadian men's coach as well. Plenty of experience in Canadian championship ties just like this one, I'm sure.
A lot of formers there.
You're still more than capable, sir.
Not so many currents.
Ali Ghazal will jog over to this one, the Egyptian who played the first match, but as a center back in Montreal alongside Aaron Mon. Carl Robinson electing to go back to his preferred partnership of Daniil Henry and Kendall Wasson, which means Ali Ghazal gets bumped up into his usual number 6 role alongside Russell Tybert, though Russell's a little bit more of a distributor than Ghazal. Brek Shea now going for a run, heads it to himself. Just not able to beat out Rod Fanny, who's a tall guy when you see him in person. Bright blue boots on the Frenchman. Russell Tybert adjudged to have fouled his man, fellow Canadian, Shamit Sham. And now Montreal will try and conjure up something going forward now in the 53rd minute. As mentioned, 1-0. Canadian Championship brought to you by Allstate and its 800 agents, proudly supporting Canadian soccer at every level. Of course, they're the sponsor to our keys to the match, which we'll definitely break down as this one gets going more and more in depth. And Bell as well, ranked #1 Canada's fastest mobile network. Visit bell.com/PCMag for more there. Marcel de Jong losing out on that one. Montreal have a throw-in right in front of the Whitecaps bench. Piet lets it roll. Clever ball inside for Teider. He has a couple steps of space infield, but elected to go right back to the right side. A lot of the play is coming up this right side for Montreal, especially in this half. Petrasso and the likes of Vargas, and now Shom. Vargas, the Chilean, go all the way to the far side for Daniel Lovitz, who hasn't seen a ton of this ball early in the half. Make that Jukka Raitala on the far side. Teider, a little bit of a slip there. Teider still going with it though. Raitala has a rip. Oh, that scuffs just across the face of goal. A little bit optimistic, but he hit it quite well with the left foot. It skims away from Marinovic's far post, and it's still 1-0 Whitecaps in the 55th. Get a replay of it here, Dale.
Good strike from Raitala, who it appears has slotted into that left back position now, and Lovitz is playing just in front of him. But the two of them working the left-hand side quite well, and good strike on his left foot.
Marcel de Jong, infield for Brek Shea, does a quick shoulder check. He had Monkosu breathing down his neck, so he had to spray it back for Daniil Henry. Jordi Reyna playing a bit deeper here as well. We usually see him more advanced up the park. In fact, he's listed as one of the 2 strikers with Kai Kamara, but he's playing as if he's a deep-lying playmaker almost. Put Jake Nerwinski a little bit higher as well into the middle of the field. Russell Tybert dropping a bit back as well.
Had Teixeira on the diagonal ball there, but just couldn't get it over the Montreal defender.
They've gone past him now. Here goes Teixeira. Nerwinski had made the decoy run into the box. Teixeira goes infield for Reyna. Reyna now has the overlap of de Jong, but will hold back and use Ghazal. Tybert now. Far side for Nerwinski.
Currently the Whitecaps, the only team with some subs up, getting themselves warmed up, looking for some action. Montreal substitutes, all sitting on the bench still.
Teixeira bundled over in a dangerous spot about 30 yards just outside the penalty area. The Whitecaps subs, as you mentioned there, Dale, Brian Rowe in net, Sean Franklin, Efrain Juarez, Anthony Blundell, Nico Mosqueda, David Norman Jr., a fellow Canadian who did play in that first leg as well, and Brett Levi is another Canadian for Montreal. It's Pantemis, Bahia, Kroliki, Chouanier, Oduro, the speed demon, and Ignacio Piatti, as well as Silva as well. So key options on both benches, I should say, should both coaches want to dip into them. But as it stands, it's going to be another Whitecaps free kick. This one looks like it might be Jordi Reyna's. He'll chip it into the back stick. It's headed on by Daniil Henry, but harmlessly back outside the 18. A little bit of a wasted ball there from Jordi Reyna. Felt he might have a smash. It was a decent amount of distance where you could have got it up and over the wall comfortably if you put enough zip on it, but they elected to try some service on that one, and it just didn't pay off as Daniil Henry's header went skyward.
Whitecaps still, to me, don't look as dangerous on set plays as they have done over the last couple of years, and not quite sure what the reason is for that, but certainly Waston, Parker when he was here were very dangerous from set plays. They're among the better teams in the league, and the Whitecaps are missing those goals this season that they were getting last year on set pieces.
Absolutely, it was kind of their bread and butter, especially at home, where at 4-2-4, it isn't exactly a fortress at BC Place this season. Teams have been able to come in and pip the odd point, or even 3 in some instances. Cute ball inside for Russell Tybert for Kai Kamara, but it just wriggles past him. Victor Cabrera has done good with Kai Kamara tonight, because the tall man from Sierra Leone can be a handful, but the Argentinian has been equal to the task.
It's been a good battle. Not quite as tall as Kamara, but he's battled every inch of the way with him.
Switch ball from Reina across to Teixeira. Teixeira has 2 white shirts to beat. He loops it into the area. Kai Kamara not able to drag it back for anybody. Brek Shea will trace it and trying to salvage this one. Hopefully launch some service back into the area if you're a Whitecaps fan. Marcel de Jong, is he bundled over? It is a penalty! Marcel de Jong puts the touch just in front of Shamit Shom, it looked like, and he's dragged down. A chance for the Whitecaps to snatch this tie by the throat.
A nice underlap from the back from de Jong. Shea's got the ball wide on the left. He underlaps him, gets into the box. Shea flips him the ball. De Jong pushes it past the defender, who it appears catches him. Remy Gard is not happy in the Montreal Impact technical area. Doesn't believe it's a penalty. Be nice to see the replay to see what our second opinion would be.
Yeah, it definitely looked like Marcel did get the first touch forward, but was he able to ever catch up to it is probably the argument for Montreal, that even if he did skip past his man Shom, would he have been able to put in service, or would it have just gone outside the goal line? Nonetheless, Shom looked like he brought down his man. It will be Kai Kamara on the spot to take this one, the hitman from Sierra Leone.
I have to say my first opinion is that I thought it was a soft pen. We'll have to see what the replay shows.
I thought it was a dash soft too. Like I said, it didn't look like de Jong was catching up to that one. Nonetheless, it's gone the way of the Caps. It's Kai Kamara, number 23, hands on his hips. Clement Diop making himself big. Kamara scores! Goes to the right side of the net, opens his body up. He beats the Senegalese keeper, and the Whitecaps are up 2-1 on aggregate.
Yeah, Kai Kamara could care less whether it was a soft pen or not. He just sticks it in the back of the net like a good forward. Side footer. Goes to the goalkeeper's left, but it's got good pace on it, and it's into the side netting.
Kai Kamara celebrates towards the north side of the stadium at BC Place. The Whitecaps have got the advantage they came for. They knew they needed 2 goals, and they've got it. They just got to bunker down now or go ahead and grab another one, because there's about 30 minutes to play here, and Montreal has some key pieces still to come off the bench.
And immediately those pieces get up, start to loosen themselves up, and are warming up now. As mentioned, Piatti, Silva, Oduro, certainly a lot more attacking players, more goals, you would say, on the Montreal bench than the Vancouver bench, I think, at this point.
Keep in mind, all this tie needs is a Montreal away goal, and that sees them go through. But as it stands right now, it's been all Whitecaps outside of a Monkosu chance that went begging in the first half off the foot of Tyder. The Whitecaps have done the business here tonight at BC Place. It's now into the 61st minute. Kai Kamara from the penalty spot gets the Caps up. Both sets of players warming up on either bench. In fact, we're going to have a double swap here for Montreal. Piatti has his jersey on, number 10.
Silva.
And it looks like number 9, Silva, has his on. Alejandro Silva has his on as well. So Montreal are wasting no time in making those subs. And we'll see if it reaps any immediate dividends for the Impact.
Should make the last half hour quite interesting for the fans here at BC Place. It's the ties in the balance. Montreal need to go for goals now.
Absolutely. 1 goal does them just fine if they can keep the goals out of their own net. Of course, the away goals rule very much in effect. It also is in effect in extra time. But as it stands, we won't have extra time, because either the Whitecaps go through on this score or score more, or Montreal scores and they go through. So Jordi Reyna trying to get something moving forward against Victor Cabrera, who's having a battle with every Whitecaps attacker that comes his way. Marcel de Jong has a bit of space to carry forward now.
Well, he had Kamara, a very good run in between the fullback and the center back, Fanny. Elected not to play him in, but it was a good run from Kai Kamara up front.
Stefan Marinovic, his 3rd game back following a lengthy injury layoff. Of course, he played his first game back in Montreal a week ago. in the first leg, and then had his second game back against the Sounders in the Cascadia Derby over the weekend.
Good work from Kamara up front. Jumps in the air, controls it on his chest, slightly gets away from him, but he puts his foot on it and keeps his team in possession, draws another foul.
Replay of the goal there. Clement Diop actually did very well and almost got a fingertip to it. He went the right way, but Kamara hit it with such precision and such power that it picked out the side meshing. Not much Diop could do about that one. As they'll make those substitutions now, it will be Piatti coming on for Daniel Lovitz, I believe. Yes? Or I think that's Silva for Lovitz.
That is Lovitz.
And then Moncosu for Piatti. And Moncosu will be disappointed with his evening if he goes back and sees a replay of that earlier potential poke-in chance.
Yeah, I would think he's got some splaining to do.
I think that's putting it mildly, Mr. Mitchell.
Not quite sure what he's thinking there. But.
So we'll see what happens now with Ignacio Piatti and Alejandro Silva into the match now. Marcel de Jong. Jordi Reyna now flicked around the backside of his man. Can Kai Kamara get there? No, he won't, but Victor Cabrera will try and keep it in. Possibly play it off the backside of Kamara. Silva getting his first touch of the match. He'll play it infield for Piet. A little bit of a phone booth job there as Piet had to get rid of it immediately, and Diop just forced to blast it forward. Oh, Alejandro Silva's pipped in. Now he's got Diego, or I should say Piatti on the overlap. Ignacio Piatti has a left-footed rip. Great save by Marinovic. Ignacio Piatti makes his presence felt immediately. Alejandro Silva as well with a great ball inside. Piatti has the lash on the deck. The Kiwi equal to the challenge, though, in between the pipes.
Yeah, you get a glimpse of why he's one of the better attacking players in MLS. Can shift it to both feet. Loves that left side where he can float in off the left side onto his right foot. Play 1-2s, play somebody through, bend it into the far corner. You've seen him do all those things, sometimes at BC Place.
I almost called him Diego Valeri there. Ooh, but a little bit of argy-bargy now between Alejandro Silva and Russell Tybert. Silva's just fresh on the pitch, and he's already got himself involved in a great through ball, and now a little bit of a skirmish, and he's already in the book. On the pitch for less than 2 minutes, and the young number 9 finds himself in the referee's pocketbook for his efforts. Of course, we expect these contests to get a little fiery. Of Montreal, of course, trailing now 2-1. The onus on them to go and make something of this game. And obviously Russell Tybert getting a little bit under the skin of Alejandro Silva there. Just saying before that, I almost confused Ignacio Piatti with Diego Valeri, both kind of similar playmaking, attacking South American players with similar flair, but both very skilled and both a couple of the MLS's best in creating chances and scoring goals. Ignacio Piatti now keeps going. Will he get there? Yeah, not afraid to throw in a tackle either is Piatti. Breck Shea with an excellent ball across for Christian Teixeira, but Clement Diop way off his line to try and deal with that one, and he's forced to just hoof it into the middle of the crowd in section 239.
Breck Shea's a little bit disappointed with himself because he had Teixeira on the break there, had an acre of space in front of him on the right-hand side, but the diagonal pass, which was the right decision, was just overhit, or else Teixeira could possibly have been in for maybe another one for Vancouver. For those that follow the formations with the subs, Silva's come over to the right side. Vargas is right up front now, and Piatti's playing in that, what I like to call inside left position. He plays on the left-hand side, but he's going to float in and not play as a left winger. He'll come into the middle and pick the ball up and work that left channel.
It'll be a Whitecaps corner here. Kendall Wasson was clashed into from behind. It did take a deflection. And it looks like Jordi Reyna will have an outswinger from the far corner. Now in the 67th minute, 2-0 for the Whitecaps on the evening and 2-1 on aggregate. As far as the tie is concerned, the winner goes on to meet Toronto in the finals. The first leg there Wednesday, August 8th. More information at canadasoccer.com. Here comes the service now from Reyna. It's short, though, only as far as Tider. Can he keep it in? He does, and he'll play out through Piatti. Disappointing quarter from Jordi Reyna.
Yeah, once again, under hit. Cardinalson not getting it past the first man when you're whipping your cross in. And that's two we've seen from the Whitecaps. One in the first half from Teixeira, another one from Reyna. And if you don't get the service right, that could be the reason that the set play count is down for the Whitecaps this year.
Kai Kamara also had a chance there on a through ball from Christian Teixeira, but once again, Clement Diop, we know he likes to fly off his line. Fast off his line again on that one to cut out the service to Kamara, who looked like he was ready to chuck himself headlong at it. Of course, the lineups today brought to you by Toyota. Toyota's partnership with Canada Soccer represents their commitment to mobility and movement for all through vehicle, sports, experiences, and more. Stefan Marinovic launches into the opposition half, but it's cleared right back by Rod Fanny. The Whitecaps give it right back to them, knowing now Breck Shea will try and create something down this left side. Loop ball into the area. Was some good service, though, but kind of behind the attack of Christian Teixeira, who is marked out by Victor Cabrera.
Just needed someone to make that run across the center back, and that could have been an opportunity. Of course, Teixeira, pretty diminutive player, and was always going to be tough for him to get his head on that.
Looked like Jordi Reyna might have been offside on that run. The flag stays down, though, as De Jong had played him in, and now a sloppy ball from Reyna, and Piette might be able to distribute a bit, and the attack might be on here. Skimmed over the top for Piatti. Probably would have been better to just lay off for Tyder on the far side, as he was criminally unmarked and had tons of space. Russell Tybert gets a nutmeg in, why not? Before winning a throw in for his side.
Great work from Tybert there to get a tackle in. He's worked really hard tonight. He's kept the team in possession. Tremendous work rate, which he always shows.
Unfortunate there on that Montreal counterattack. Tyder was in perfect space, and all it needed was just a simple 10-yard drag back for the on-running rush of Tyder, but they elected to kind of try and loft it in behind for Piatti, who looked like he was offside anyways, and the attack kind of just fizzled. Montreal need to try and capitalize on some more of those counterattacks if they want to try and get through this tie. All they needed is an away goal, and they've pipped the Whitecaps on the away goals rule. Whitecaps knew that coming in. They got to keep the ball out of their net, especially since they hadn't been able to pick up the away goal in Montreal. They've gotten the 2 goals they've come for here at home, but it's time to button it up or go ahead and get another one now to put the result out of touching distance for the Impact.
Jake Nerwinski's got to really keep his eye on Piatti in that position. With 20 minutes to play, there's every chance that at some point he's going to get himself into a situation where he can do something in the attacking half, and he's the real danger man for the Impact.
Of course, we remember the home opener between the Whitecaps and Montreal in MLS play a couple of years back, where Ignacio Piatti had his way with a young Canadian right back. Fraser Aird on the night made him look somewhat pylon-esque. That was kind of the coming out party as far as Vancouver viewers were concerned with Ignacio Piatti, and it seems he always has a performance when he comes to town. So if you're Jake Nerwinski, you're right, Dale, you definitely have to keep one eye on the back of your head on Piatti at all times.
It was a pretty tough debut for Fraser Aird. I remember the match, but Piatti's done that to a lot of fullbacks in this league.
Oh yeah,
and he's very talented player. It's been a really good pickup for Montreal over the years. I think last year, and he doesn't play like right up front like a center forward. He does play in that wide position. I think last year he got 17 goals, which from a wide position is a tremendous count. He's got 10 this year, and there's every chance that he'll get into the teens again. And just speaking to Adam Brass, part of the Montreal staff, prior to the game, they do have a new signing coming in from France, someone that Remy Gard has worked with at Rennes. I think his name is Jimmy Briand, and highly touted French striker that should be joining the Impact very quickly.
More options up front for Remy Gard, the manager of the Montreal Impact, who's trying to get his side back into this one right now. Of course, as mentioned, the winner will go on to meet Toronto FC after they beat up on Ottawa Fury earlier today, 4-0 on aggregate. As it stands, it will be the Whitecaps going through to play the men in red.
Whitecaps have just got to watch now that they don't get too deep and look to protect that lead too much. You still got to press out to the ball and not get sat back in, or else Montreal can start getting balls into the box and putting you under some pressure.
Ever since Piatti and Silva have come on, they've enjoyed a little bit more possession, have the Impact. It hasn't been as incisive outside of that one little spell of play, but that could all change right here as the Caps are now on the attack.
Good chance for Kamara there. If Teixeira would have played him in, he was behind the back line, but he held the ball too long.
Kamara, I should say, Teixeira wanted to go infield. Kamara had made the piercing run to try and get around the back. Tider now rolled ball on the deck for Vargas. Takes a bobble inside the penalty arc. It's then cleared out only as far as Teixeira. Looks like we're going to have a Whitecaps penalty arc. It's then cleared out only as far as Teixeira. Looks like we're going to have a Whitecap substitution. It will be Efrain Juarez, the former Mexican international, to make his way across for Piatti. Here goes Piatti now on the left. Jake throws in the tackle, holds it all the way, and does enough to just direct the cross into the waiting arms of Stefan Marinovic. Chalk that one up to Jake Nerwinski, but you know Ignacio Piatti will have the fight back shortly.
Seen him do that one a few times where it looks like he's going to cross it. The defender goes to ground and he just lets the ball roll towards the end line and then gets his cross in later.
Didn't get enough on it that time either. That or Jake managed to get just the toenail on it to steer it back into the path of Stefan Marinovic. Just over 15 minutes plus added time to play.
Of course, Juarez, when he comes in, is be interesting to see who he does come in for, but he's a box-to-box midfield player. Can't sit in there and be disciplined, so.
Possibly a sub for Ali Ghazal. We just saw him get some treatment on the pitch. He does look to be walking around a bit gingerly, and they are sort of like-for-like switches. I think Efrain's a little bit more offensively gifted as far as distribution and loop balls over the top, but we'll see if that is, in fact, the swap for Coach Carl Robbins' side, looking to bump a 3-game losing streak in all competitions, and yes, that does include the first leg loss in Montreal. Petrasso, that's an excellent ball around the back. He's found Shom, who is the man guilty of giving away that penalty against De Jong. He's pushed off the ball, bullied off the ball there by the much taller, much heftier Daniil Henry, and it will be Ali Ghazal coming off for Efrain Juarez.
Yeah, good spot, Corey. Ghazal starting to feel it a little bit, and Juarez will go in, do a similar job as you mentioned. Has the ability to get forward, possibly more, but in this situation, you wonder if he will. We'll probably sit in there beside Tybert. 2 banks of 4 there with the Whitecaps, and let Reyna stay up maybe a little bit closer to Kamara, but he'll drop into the midfield area and stick close to Piet. And Vancouver will try and see this out, but they still have 15 minutes to deal with.
Of course, Juarez was sent off in the Caps' last MLS match in Seattle over the weekend for a little bit of verbal jousting with the referee. Since came out and apologized to the club and the fans for his behavior, so you know he'll be looking to make amends here on the pitch and get back in the gaffer's good books.
Definitely a competitor. It's bubbled over a couple of times this year. We've seen for those that follow the Whitecaps with his temper, but you know, a real battler. Has experience playing in Europe, has experience playing in Mexico, and still wants to win.
Excellent ball with the outside of the left foot from Breck Shea. Just had a little bit too much purchase on it, but look at Jake Nerwinski make up this run here. He's giving the Bugs something to think about, but he wants to carry it in and have it himself, does Teixeira. Now Tybert. Ooh, good first time ball. Good thought anyways by Breck Shea, but Jordi Reyna and Kai Kamara just had picked up the run. Here goes Ignacio Piatti now. Advantage given, but then brought back on the foul. Christian Teixeira nipping the heels of the fellow South American.
Good run forward from Nerwinski, made Piatti chase him, which he was willing to do, didn't just stand up front.
Goes Silva now. Of course, he went into the book almost 90 seconds after coming onto the pitch. A little bit of argy-bargy with Russell Tybert. And Alejandro Silva goes in the book. The Whitecaps just content to keep the ball and just see out this game. Nothing risky, nothing overly flashy. Fine night for football here in Vancouver. It was a scorcher, but now it's kind of settled down. We got a little bit of shade cast over the stadium. The sun has set, and the broadcast team is thankful for it. Kai Kamara losing that battle. Victor Cabrera has been good tonight. Alejandro Silva goes for a loop ball over the top there, kind of duffed it on the left foot. Thankfully, it rolled to his teammate Piet, and they'll carry on their attack. Piatti Loop ball on top, looking for Silva, just muscled out there by Marcel de Jong. Ignacio Piatti looking to pull the strings there. It will be Anthony Blundell coming on now for the Vancouver Whitecaps. We'll find out for whom shortly. A bulldozer of a forward, the Venezuelan.
You would have to think Kamara, may not be, but he's worked real hard up front. It's a like-for-like switch, and if they left Kamara on, that would be 2 forwards, and it's unlikely that the Whitecaps are going to go to 2 central forwards at this point.
Kamara did play the full 90 over the weekend in Seattle, and you would assume he will get in against Minnesota in the upcoming match for the Whitecaps, so maybe just a bit of a breather from the big, tall center forward. And of course, Anthony Blundell definitely needs some minutes.
#1 goal scorer in the club, #1 forward, so they're going to need him on the weekend.
Remy Gard shouting instructions to the troops. Fine shout, Dale. It'll be Kai Kamara, a like-for-like switch with Anthony Blundell.
Yeah, Kamara's worked really hard tonight. I mean, played up front against the 2 center backs, giving them all they can handle. Looked dangerous and scored at the moment the decisive goal from the penalty spot.
Of course, you can stay up to date on all the 2018 Canadian Championship news by visiting the official website of the competition, canadasoccer.com/championship, and join the conversation on Canada Soccer's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram platforms by using the hashtag #CanChamp. If you're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Piet now. Oh, look for a rolled ball on the deck for Shome. Jake Nerwinski now, look to let it run, takes it back to his right foot and just smashes it forward for Blundell to take and possibly run against Victor Cabrera. Blundell keeps it by the byline and then plays it back for Nerwinski. Nerwinski takes a touch forward. Nerwinski still going Nerwinski, plays it off the shins of his man and then wins it back from Piatti.
Good job to win it back from Nowinski after giving it away.
Ball over the top for Anthony Blundell on the far side. He has Victor Cabrera to beat. He's got a couple options in the box, but he's going to take it to the corner flag and stand on it. A little bit premature for that, but he's going to eat up some time anyways. Cabrera. And they'll eventually get themselves out of that phone booth. Cabrera and Shome, and then switch it all the way across for Alejandro Silva. Silva's going to go for a bit of a lung-busting run, but he'll hold up under the challenge of Jordi Reyna. Now played on the deck. Can he find Vargas? It looks like Daniil Henry acted as sort of an interference while Marinovic came out to scoop it. Looked like they might cross their wires at the last second, but the Kiwi dives down and smothers it as Montreal are getting set to make a sub with Ken Krolicky coming on.
Well read by Marinovic and very quick to get off his line to smother that opportunity. Or potential opportunity.
81st minute now, some stoppage time looming, you would assume, with the substitutions being made and 1 or 2 minor stoppages. Brek Shea now whips it at the back stick. Christian Echera just couldn't get high enough. He jumped as high as he could, but was head and shoulders underneath it. It rolls off his head, goes back for Juarez, and the chance goes begging, but some excellent service from Reyna and then Shea.
Krolicki looking to come in, and believe he's a central midfield player. Thought maybe that they would bring another forward on, or at least put 2 right up front, because they certainly need another goal, but we'll see what happens.
Here comes Piatti, cuts it back to his right, dead central. Piatti now with the overlap. That was a good decoy into the middle of the field, but Raitala just didn't pick up on the ball there. Mashed over by Nerwinski by the boards, and Piet gets it now. Is he going to have a rip? No, he'll play a roll ball on deck for Vargas, and Daniil Henry comes out and makes a crucial interception. Marcel de Jong has a roll on him, though. Here's Silva now in the area, across, Tider. Will he have a lash? No. Bundled off of it by Juarez. All the Whitecaps just able to defend well there, but Montreal are right back at it again. It's Petrasso. Montreal kind of coming into it right now with about 10 minutes to go. They look to be making some incisive passes, but the final one just going begging when they need it the most. But some good passing and some good possession there by Montreal, but the Caps defense holding resolve there.
Good work from Teixeira to get all the way back into his own penalty box to knock that ball away, and the opportunity, potential opportunity for Montreal. Caps continue to get pushed back. They need to push out a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to be Montreal in an attack first defense for the last 7-8 minutes here.
Petrasso infield for Silva. Silva loops it into the back stick for Ignacio Piatti. Can he bring it down, the Argentinian? He can. Jake Nerwinski pushes him back to the flag, but he'll keep going. Here goes Piatti. Piatti now. Looped in right ball, right-footed. Up for the header was Petrasso, but he was double marked there, and now a giveaway by Reyna. Tighter. And the through ball just goes wanting. A little bit of nervous times, though, as the Whitecaps have to defend in front of the south side. An awkward lull is kind of fallen over the stadium. As Whitecaps fans have seen this season, where whether it's been late equalizers, they've seen teams come in and snatch a point here at BC Place. So this result definitely not out of the question here. Montreal, all they need is a away goal, and they are through. 4-2-4 at home are the Whitecaps. Montreal 2-9-1 on the road. Teixeira now, probably could have played in Blundell there. He was onside. It was Shom keeping him onside, but Teixeira's held the ball a couple minutes too long in a couple positions in the second half. Here's Vargas, has a right-footed shot. It takes a hop on the 6-yard box, but Marinovic had that one covered all way. 7 minutes plus added time to come, and Krolicky still waiting to come on as a sub.
Yeah, as mentioned, Corey, a good opportunity for Vancouver again on the break, and Teixeira just holds the ball a little bit too long. Sitting players in, looking to break out. Those are the opportunities you've got to take advantage of.
Anthony Blundell heads it down for Reyna. Blundell's making the run to the back stick. Can he get the ball to him, Reyna? He can't. But they keep the attack alive. White shirts start to converge around the area. Here comes Reyna now off the forehead of Rod Fanny. Reyna still has it, though, as Fanny didn't deal with it. Teixeira now, left-footed. Teixeira has a rip. Palmed away by Diop, but only as far as Blundell. Blundell has a rip, and over the crossbar. Oh, the Whitecaps could have used those, a couple goals to put the tie in the distance. It's still 2-0 now in the 84th, and here comes Krolicky.
Good work from the Whitecaps on the break. Montreal couldn't clear it. They pressed them, won the ball back. Teixeira with the first opportunity. Good save from the keeper. And then Anthony Blundell, who could really use a goal, actually, in a Whitecaps uniform. Nice little cut inside. And a bender for the top corner that was close to getting him on the score sheet. This is a great strike coming up here. Man, we just missed it on the replay, but fantastic strike that had Diop beat. Would have been game, set, and match.
Corey Basso alongside Dale Mitchell for the final minutes, possibly, of this one. Ignacio Piatti now, how's the ball? Has the overlapping run, goes for a right-footed shot. Ooh, it looked dangerous from this angle. Marinovic just lets it roll and did the right thing. It goes out for a goal kick, but Ignacio Piatti, you just never know what he's going to pick out with some of those when he opens up his body and lets those shots go. It looked dangerous, but it scuffs out for a goal kick.
Loves that move on the left-hand side where he drifts onto his right foot. He actually had the overlapping Ratala on his left and looked for a second like he was going to play him in, because that would have been a very good opportunity for the Impact as well. But given Piatti's abilities, you can't blame him for having a pop at in that situation, and he just bent it past the far post.
Krolicky has since made his way into the matchup. He took off the Canadian Shamit Sham. Anthony Blundell now in the area. This is an incisive run. Blundell cuts it all the way across for Teixeira. What an excellent stop from Clement Diop. It was right-footed, his not preferred foot from Teixeira, but my goodness, what a stop from the Senegalese man.
Oh, fantastic save. Great work down the left from Blundell. Teixeira's there. It looks like he's got it in the back of the net, but Diop somehow gets himself across and makes a one-handed save.
My goodness. If that's not on every highlight reel in Canada, let alone the States, or maybe even Senegal. What a stop.
Terrific.
Let's see if Montreal can use that as a building block here. Ignacio Piatti carrying forward. Tighter. I was just saying before that huge chance, Krolicky has since come on for Shamit Sham, the Canadian. Nico Mesquita about to make his way into the match for the Whitecaps as well. Ball over the top now for Vargas. Oh, it looked like good service from Alejandro Silva. Vargas almost chased it down, but Marinovic smothers it. Now in the 87th, added time will be a couple minutes away before we find out. The Whitecaps will try and burn a few of those seconds with the Nico Mesquita substitute, but my goodness, what a save from Diop moments ago.
Yeah, terrific athleticism to get himself across the goal, and to be fair, it was at a good height for him that when he did make the spring across the net, the ball was right there and he got his hand onto it, but it's nonetheless a terrific save.
And that'll be Christian Teixeira's last touch of the match. He could have put it in the books, but instead he'll have to jog his way off and wonder what might have been. But an excellent save for Clement Diop. Fellow Uruguayan Nico Mesquita will make his way into this match.
Teixeira's worked hard tonight, looked a little bit more like himself. from an attacking point of view, been quite dangerous, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come. From a Whitecaps point of view, they'll be looking for him to have a good run-in for the rest of the season because they could use his offensive abilities.
Lest we forget, he did smash that free kick off the crossbar in the first half, so Teixeira definitely could have been on the score sheet a couple of times tonight. He's definitely done his part. Jordy Reyna's very much looked the part again tonight as well after a frustrating effort against Seattle over the weekend. Breck-Shea as well has also looked good. Here comes Breck-Shea now. Can he put the nail in the impact coffin? Reyna inside the area. Look to chip it across. It takes a deflection. Clement Diop kind of awkwardly just watches it to see if it'll go in his net. It lands on the top. It will be a corner kick.
Mosquita's come on in Teixeira's position. Looks like he's going to drift maybe a little bit more inside and just make sure the Whitecaps are nice and tight in the middle of midfield and hope to see out the last couple of minutes.
Nico Mosquita will take over service. We've seen him do this in regular season play where whenever he comes on, he seems to take over service from Felipe, Reyna, Teixeira, whoever it may be. A little bit of fresh legs to try and put it over that first hurdle. Get it right into the mixer. It's a decent one too. Anthony Blundell gets ahead to it, but he puts it wide of the near post. Some good service from Mosquita and makes connection with the Venezuelan's head, but just can't steer it on the frame. Marcel de Jong sees his clearance go in the air before Kendall Waston is forced to just head it back. Stefan Marinovic will launch that one. Anthony Blundell loses the duel there with Rod Fanny. Jordy Reyna will give up the chase on the subsequent ball that rolls down by the goal line. Alejandro Silva almost winning that battle with Marcel de Jong. Samuel Piet will spread it across now for Raitala. Mazio Piatti, 2 gray shirts he has to get past. He's doing admirably well to try and get around. Oh, almost a kick out there from Mosquita. But Piatti gets it away now. Tider lining one up. Tider has a rip. It had some zip on it, had some zing on it, but it just didn't have any accuracy on it. It goes wide of his near post and into the south side.
Vancouver forcing them to hit long shots. As long as that's the case, I think they'd probably be okay with that. It's a 25-yarder. As long as you're not getting penetrated at this point in the game, that's what you're hoping for.
As we approach the 90th minute, we'll see how much added time goes up on David Gantar's board. It will be 4 minutes, so plenty of time to try and salvage this result if you're the Impact and their supporters. It'll be up to the likes of Alejandro Silva, Ignacio Piatti, Tider, and Vargas as well. Samuel Piet winning that one down for Raitala. Clement Diop will try and get this one forward as fast as he possibly can. Hopes that the Whitecaps fluff their defensive lines and maybe give up the pieces, and Montreal can move forward. Anthony Blundell is 2 yards offside, but it doesn't matter because Reyna, I should say, wins the free kick now, and that'll eat up some valuable time. Jordy Reyna still down on the pitch.
We yet to see a replay of the Marcel de Jong penalty call, and would like to see it again if it's possible. Maybe not, but I'm sure that it'll be a talking point after the game. I'm sure Remy Gard will have his opinion about the play that at this moment looks like it's going to decide the match.
Tider now. Raitala. And the Impact just need to get this one forward as fast as they possibly can. Here comes Piatti now. He's going to be the key man. Here comes Piatti. He's got the overlapping run, but he's going to go himself. Chips it across now. Oh, Kralicky just couldn't bring it under his spell, and Tider is forced to try and make something of it now against Russell Tybert. Both Whitecaps coaches, Martin Pert and the assistant, and then Coach Carl Robinson, the head coach, up and giving instructions to the squad as they've got 11 men behind the ball as Montreal try and get behind the back, and it almost looks like they did. Alejandro Silva, I should say, almost was first to that ball, but Stefan Marinovic key off his line to smother.
Nice little around the corner pass in between Whitecaps defenders. couldn't quite find an impact forward.
It's like Russell Tiber might have taken an elbow or a fist in the face there. He's clutching the nose, it looks like, as trainer Jake Yoakum comes out on the field. There's another look at this chances. It was the right idea, but the Whitecaps were equal to it defensively, and the attacking impact players just couldn't get there with enough haste. Russell Tybert waving off, I should say, the physio treatment. He wants to get right back out there. Doesn't want to put his team shorthanded, especially in one of the more crucial points of the match here.
Yeah, unlikely that Tybert would be someone that's time wasting at this point in the game. He's a fairly hard-nosed, honest midfield player for the Whitecaps.
The ball's back into play now. Stefan Marinovic will pick it up. The referee has added that to his stopwatch, as the fans eagerly await the final whistle here at BC Place. The whistle that would book their spot in the final to take on TFC after their victory earlier today against Ottawa. Anthony Blundell offside.
The talking points after have got to be the Moncoso opportunity that he passed up for some reason that we're not sure of, and the De Jong penalty kick, because those are the two plays, I'm sure, from the Montreal Impact's point of view that they'll be thinking have probably, it looks like, cost them the tie.
Absolutely. That Moncoso one happening early in the first half, where it looked like he might have been offside on the tide or tap-in that was saved by Marinovic, but inexplicably decided to just let the rebound roll out for a goal kick instead of, whether it was offside or not, just smashing it into the empty net. And then, of course, the Marcel De Jong penalty, which looked like he was clipped in the box, but it looked like the touch he had put forward for himself he wasn't even getting to. It was a bit of a harsh penalty, even by my standards. Loves me a good penalty from time to time, but that was harsh, especially in a second leg knockout tie. But the referee did point to the spot, and Kai Kamara buried it. And that's where we stand right now, 2-0 on the evening, 2-1 on aggregate, as the fans start to sense the end may be near. They may have booked their ticket to the finals. And there goes the final whistle. The Whitecaps win 2-0 on the evening. Reyna and Kamara from the penalty spot. 2-1 on aggregate. They overturned the 1-0 deficit from the first leg. And they now move on to meet TFC, the reigning Canadian champions, in the final. Mr. Mitchell, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Vancouver gave a good performance, but I think the talking points are from the Montreal side. The opportunity they passed up in the first half, and certainly the penalty kick will be one that they'll be looking at again and wondering if it actually was a PK.
As mentioned, it's a final 2-1 on aggregate, 2-0 on the evening. Reyna and Kamara from the penalty spot for the Whitecaps. And of course, you can stay up to date on all 2018 Canadian Championship news by visiting the official website of the competition, canadasoccer.com/championship. Join the conversation on Canada Soccer's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram platforms by using hashtag #CanChamp. The next broadcast, Wednesday, August 8th. For more details on the Voyageurs Cup, as mentioned, visit canadasoccer.com. For myself, Corey Basso, and former Canadian men's international and coach Dale Mitchell, we're signing off from Vancouver.